very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television, your one-stop morning show for top stories from India and across the world. I'm Aishwarya and these are the headlines. Voting begins for second and final phase of polling in Chhattisgarh. 72 seats are voting in this phase. In neighbouring Madhya Pradesh, Prime Minister Modi to address two rallies. BJP President Amit Shah to release party's vision document in Mizoram. Congress President also campaigning in the state. RBI to consider restructuring of stressed loans of small businesses. Central Bank Board decides to constitute expert committee to look into contentious issue of appropriate size of reserves for the RBI after a 9-hour marathon meet on Monday. Supreme Court hearing on a CBI director's plea today. Alok Verma had on Monday filed his response in the apex court to the preliminary findings of CVC on corruption charges against him. India, only country to register progress in reducing malaria cases in 2017, says a World Health Organization report. 24% decline in cases in the country last year as compared to 2016. Best performance among 11 highest burden countries. And the 49th edition of the International Film Festival of India begins in Goa today. 9-day event to showcase 212 films from 68 countries. Israel is the focus country and Jharkhand focus state this time. First up, let's get you all the news and updates from 5 election-bound states. The big story is from Chhattisgarh, which is voting in the second and final phase of polling for the state assembly elections. Today, voting is being held in 72 seats across 19 districts. 1,079 candidates, including 119 women, are in the fray in the second phase. Over 1.5 crore voters are eligible to cast their ballot, including over 76 lakh female voters and 940 of the third gender. Of the 72 seats, 46 are from the general category, while 9 are reserved for scheduled castes and 17 for scheduled tribes. The highest number of 46 contestants are in the Raipur City South constituency, while the lowest number of 6 candidates are in the Binda-Nawag seat. Former Chief Minister Ajit Jogi is among the many high-profile candidates whose fate would be sealed today. Jogi is contesting from Marwahi. Apart from him, the fate of 10 ministers is also at stake in this phase. 76.28% polling was registered in the first phase of voting. More than 1 lakh security personnel have been deployed to ensure free and fair elections. All right, my colleague Panchanan Mishra is now joining us live from Raipur. A very good morning, Panchanan. So the voting must be beginning in a short while from now. And, you know, after promising a 76.28% turnout that we saw in the first phase of Chhattisgarh, today, second phase of voting will see voting for, 72 seats. What more can you tell us about what is happening there?
Good morning, Aishwarya, and we can show you very good visuals. It's a Raipur assembly seat, Raipur South assembly seat, and usually in urban areas there are the voting comes in the later hours. But here you can see the voting has to begin around 8 a.m. But you can see the queues. The two booths are here, and there are lines, and the people who are waiting to vote here, who want to come first for the voting. Are visible here in the lines of Raipur South seat, and it's a quite good trend that Election Commission has made a quite awareness regarding the voting pattern. and that is the fallout of it. It's a job that many people are here for the voting. And as far as the issues, we are concerned that this time, this election is very much crucial for the Raman Singh, because after 3 consecutive terms, he is now going for the 4th term, and the opposition parties are banking only on the anti-incumbency factor, because in the entire Chhattisgarh we visited, there is no clear-cut issue against the Raman Singh. That only one factor is there, anti-incumbency, and that's for from contemporary BJP and Congress contest. This time, the entrance of Ajit Jogi with the alliance with BSP, the many seats has gone into the triangular fight. So it's interesting to see that on which line this time the voters will come. But the Election Commission has made elaborate security arrangements, because some of the polling booths are still sensitive in this phase, in this 72 phase, 72 seats. So, and you can see just behind me, there is a wheelchair also. And this is made for the young persons who can come to vote here, so that they don't get any difficulty. And also Sangwari booths means especially designed for women to provide special assistance to women. There are many Sangwari booths has been created in entire 72 seats. So Election Commission has made an elaborate arrangement to increase the voting percentage. As we saw in the first phase, there was a very good turnout, around 76% in the 18 assembly seat, which was mostly Naxal affected. So we have to see that what percentage will be here.
Right. Of course, so the signs are very good, because we can see that even before 8 in the morning, when the voting is scheduled to start, there are already serpentine queues outside the polling booths, Panchanan. And in this phase, more than 1.5 crore people are eligible to vote in over 19,000 polling booths, deciding the fate of many high-profile leaders as well. Thank you so much, Panchanan, for all those updates there. We'll keep coming back to you. On to the news from other poll-bound states. First up, news from Madhya Pradesh, and Prime Minister Modi will continue campaigning today in poll-bound Madhya Pradesh. He will address 2 rallies in Jhabua and in Rewa. Voting for single-phase elections in the state is due for the 28th of this month. The state has a 230-seat assembly. Remember, the Prime Minister had last week addressed multiple rallies in the state. And also, BJP President Amit Shah addressed election rallies in poll-bound Madhya Pradesh on Monday. He credited the Shivraj Singh Chauhan government for working tirelessly for the poor and the farmers, and said that the state government is providing interest-free loan to the farmers. He also targeted the opposition Congress and said that the party is suffering from Modi phobia.
15 साल हो गए, आप भी भूल गए हो। 18% पर ऋण कांग्रेस सरकार देती थी। उमा भारती को आपने चुना, बाद में शिवराज जी आए, और 15 साल के भारतीय जनता पार्टी के शासन में 18 से 15, 15 से 12, 12 से 11, 11 से 6, 6 से 4, और आज 0% सूद पर ऋण देने का काम है भारतीय जनता पार्टी।
News from Rajasthan, where scrutiny of nomination takes place for the Rajasthan Assembly polls. 3,164 candidates have filed nominations so far. The BJP released its 5th list of 8 candidates for the polls. State Minister Yunus Khan has been fielded to contest against Congress leader Sachin Pilot from Tonk seat. And after the Congress fielded a Pilot in Tonk, the BJP brainstormed and replaced Ajit Singh Mehta, who figured in the first list issued on 11th of November. Yunus Khan is a sitting MLA from the Dwana constituency, and the Congress meanwhile also released the list of its remaining candidates for the Rajasthan Assembly election on Sunday, declaring 11 new names and replacing 3 previously declared nominees. It has left 5 seats for its allies. And with this, the Congress and its allies have announced party-wise distribution on 199 seats out of the total 200 in the state for the 7th of December election. The Congress had declared 152 candidates in the first list and 32 in the second list. And on the last day of filing nominations in Rajasthan on Monday, State Congress Chief Sachin Pilot filed his nomination from the Tonk Assembly seat, and he expressed confidence that his party will make a comeback in the state with a sizable margin. He said that the assembly election in the state is a fight between the ideologies of his party and the BJP. Remember, Pilot will face Yunus Khan, who is the only Muslim candidate pitted in the election by the BJP.
अपना नामांकन दाखिल किया है। मुझे लगता है कि न सिर्फ टोंक के अंदर लेकिन पूरे राजस्थान के अंदर कांग्रेस पार्टी को अप्रत्याशित बहुमत मिलेगा। वसुंधरा जी की 5 साल की सरकार का जो ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है, जो रिपोर्ट कार्ड है, जनता के सामने है। मैं समझता हूं जो पब्लिक का पिछले 5 साल का इंतजार था, जो निराश थी, नाराज थी और इंतजार कर रही थी कि कब मौका उनको मिले मतदान कर इस सरकार को यहां से हटाएं और नई सरकार का निर्माण होगा। मैं पूरा विश्वास मुझे है कि 7 दिसंबर को जो मतदान होगा उसमें कांग्रेस पार्टी को अप्रत्याशित बहुमत मिलेगा।
News from poll-bound Telangana now, where the scrutiny of nominations for the 7th of December polls takes place today. As many as 3,584 nominations have been filed by various political parties. Telangana caretaker ministers K.T. Raman Rao and Jagdish Reddy and the state Congress working president Revati Reddy were among the prominent leaders who filed their nominations on Monday. The last day for the withdrawal of nominations is the 22nd of this month. The TRS and the BJP are going it alone in the elections to the 119-member assembly, while the main opposition Congress is heading a grand alliance and is contesting in 94 seats. Campaigning has picked up pace for the state polls. K. Chandrasekhar Rao addressed 2 rallies on Monday, and top leaders including Prime Minister Modi, BJP Chief Amit Shah, UPA Chairperson Sonia Gandhi, Congress President Rahul Gandhi are expected to hit the campaign trail in the state in the coming days. News from the northeast, where in Mizoram, BJP Chief Amit Shah will release the party's vision document for the state. Shah will also address 2 public rallies for the polls that will be held on the 28th of this month. Mizoram has a 40-member assembly. Meanwhile, Congress President Rahul Gandhi will also be campaigning in the state. He is scheduled to address 2 rallies in Champhai and in Aizawl. Mizoram is the only state where Congress is in power in the northeast at present. Let's get you some other news. First up, news from Jammu and Kashmir, where voting is underway for the second phase of Panchayat elections, and 4,014 candidates are in the fray for 281 Sarpanch and 1,286 Panch seats in the second phase of the election. 90 Sarpanchs and 1,069 Panchs have already been elected unopposed. 601 polling stations have been categorized as hypersensitive. The first phase of the election was conducted on 17th of November, in which 71.4% of the electorate had voted. Major regional parties, namely the National Conference, the People's Democratic Party, had decided not to participate in the local body polls. And in Breakfast News, we'll take a very short break here. We'll be right back with more news.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back after the break. Let's get to some other news. The Reserve Bank of India's board met for more than 9 hours in Mumbai on Monday and signalling a temporary truce. The Reserve Bank and the government agreed to refer to an expert committee the contentious issue of appropriate size of reserves that the RBI must hold, while restructuring of stressed loans of small businesses would be considered by the central bank. The board decided to constitute an expert committee to examine the economic capital framework, the membership and terms of reference of which will be jointly determined by the government and the RBI. The expert committee to be set up will get to decide the adequate size of the capital base, as the current capital base stands at 9.69 lakh crore rupees. The board to discuss the Basel regulatory capital framework, a restructuring scheme for the stressed MSMEs, bank health under prompt corrective action or the PCA framework, and the economic capital framework. And with regard to banks under prompt corrective action, it was decided that the matter will be examined by the board for financial supervision of the RBI. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Western Peripheral Expressway in Gurugram on Monday. He also flagged off the Escorts Mujessar Ballabgarh corridor of the Delhi Metro. And unveiling the two projects, the Prime Minister said that they will revolutionize the connectivity in the state and improve ease of living. Here are all the details.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the most awaited Western Peripheral Expressway at Gurugram's Sultanpur area on Monday. In his address, Prime Minister Modi said that the Kundli-Manesar Palwal Expressway will play a big role in bringing down pollution levels in Delhi and adjoining areas, besides ensuring ease of living and travel. Slamming the previous Congress government in Haryana, Prime Minister Modi said the former regime created obstacles that led to delays and rise in the project cost.
अटकाने, लटकाने और भटकाने वाली संस्कृति ने हरियाणा का, यहाँ की जनता का, पूरे दिल्ली एनसीआर का कितना बड़ा नुकसान किया है। साथियों, पहले की सरकार में जिस तरह इस परियोजना पर काम हुआ, वो एक केस स्टडी है कि कैसे जनता के पैसे को बर्बाद किया जाता है।
The Kundli-Manesar Palwal Expressway is 135.6 kilometers long and it was built at a cost of 6,400 crore rupees. The Delhi Western Peripheral Expressway project was proposed in 2003 with an initial cost of 1,915 crores. The expressway will provide a high-speed link between the northern and southern districts of Haryana. It will also provide an alternative route to go towards Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. Prime Minister Modi also inaugurated the 3.2-kilometer-long Escorts Mujessar Ballabgarh corridor of the Delhi Metro, built at a cost of 580 crore rupees. With this, Ballabgarh has become the fourth city in Haryana to get metro connectivity after Gurugram, Faridabad and Bahadurgarh. Inaugurating the expressway and the metro link via remote control from Sultanpur village, Prime Minister Modi said the two projects will bring a revolution in connectivity in the state. He said the centre is working to connect road, railway, highway and waterways in a way that they will support each other.
शहरों में जाम की समस्या कम हो, हमारे उद्योगों के पास ट्रांसपोर्ट के आधुनिक साधन, सस्ते साधन का विकल्प हो, इस दिशा में काम किया जा रहा है। इन सारे प्रयासों में इस बात पर भी जोर है कि पर्यावरण की रक्षा हो।
Prime Minister Modi also laid the foundation stone for Vishwakarma Kaushal Vishwavidyalaya, saying it will empower the youth. The Prime Minister was accompanied by Haryana Governor Satyadev Narayan Arya, Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar and Union Ministers Rao Inderjit Singh and Birinder Singh. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the government is aiming at India breaking into top 50 in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index. Prime Minister Modi launched the Ease of Doing Business Grand Challenge on Monday. The challenge aims to invite innovative ideas based on artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, big data analytics, blockchain and other cutting-edge technology to reform government processes. Addressing the gathering, Prime Minister Modi congratulated industry representatives for their efforts in improving India's ranking in the ease of doing business. Prime Minister Modi said that within 4 years, there has been a 180-degree change in the country, with over 1,400 archaic laws being replaced to promote ease of doing business in the country.
साथियों, जो दुनिया में कोई कल्पना भी नहीं कर सकता है, वो हमने करके दिखाया है। टॉप 50 का लक्ष्य हासिल करने से हम सिर्फ कुछ कदम की दूरी पर खड़े हैं। विश्व बैंक ने अपनी रिपोर्ट में माना है कि भारत ने 10 में 8 मानकों में अपना प्रदर्शन सुधारा है। 2 मानकों में तो हमने 100 रैंक से ज्यादा की छलांग लगाई है। साथियों, देश में बदलाव का वातावरण लाने, रैंक सुधारने के लक्ष्यों पर हम निरंतर राज्य सरकारों के साथ मिलकर के काम कर रहे हैं।
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu addressed the 150th birth anniversary celebrations of Mahatma Gandhi in New Delhi on Monday. Vice President Naidu said that Gandhiji's ideas on freedom and equality are relevant even in today's times and must be followed by every citizen. He said that Mahatma Gandhi always talked about making villages self-reliant, and which is the need of the hour today, so as to stop the migration from villages to cities. Vice President Naidu added that it was Gandhiji who made khadi a means of livelihood for people. He also emphasized on realizing Mahatma Gandhi's dream of a clean India through the Swachh Bharat mission.
Gandhiji was an ardent believer in the principles of self-reliance. He constantly spoke about Swadeshi. He yearned to build self-sufficient and harmonious Adarsh villages. He believed that soul of India rested in villages. To him, Khadi was not just a political icon or a symbol of national pride, it was also a way to empower the rural economy. Today, we see a disturbing trend of distress migration from rural to urban areas. Our rural economy is weak and fails to provide enough opportunities for livelihood. It is time India honors Mahatma's wishes and go back to its villages.
On to some other news now. The Supreme Court will today hear CBI Director Alok Verma's plea. Alok Kumar had filed his response in the Supreme Court in a sealed cover on CVC's report on corruption charges against him on Monday. Earlier on Monday, the Apex Court had asked Verma to file his response as quickly as possible during the day. The court made it clear that it would not adjourn the scheduled hearing on Tuesday after his lawyer sought more time. The Apex Court had asked that the CVC has made some very uncomplimentary finding in its probe on corruption allegations against Verma. Remember, Verma had approached the Apex Court challenging Centre's decision to divest him of his duties and sending him on leave after his feud with the Special Director Rakesh Asthana, who has also been divested of his duties over allegations of corruption. And some good news, India has turned out to be the only country among the 11 highest burden countries to make progress in reducing malaria in 2017. According to WHO World Malaria Report 2018, India registered a 24% decrease in 2017 as compared to 2016. India and 10 other countries in the sub-Saharan Africa accounts for nearly 70% of the estimated malaria cases and deaths globally last year. And by leading the world in malaria case reductions in 2017, India is no longer among the top 3 countries with the highest malaria burdens. However, 1.25 billion Indians remain at risk of malaria. India has set a target of being malaria-free by 2027 and eliminating the disease completely by 2030. The top international focus, top Dubai court has upheld a lower court's order to consider the possibility of extraditing British national and alleged middleman Christian Michael in the multi-crore Augusta VVIP chopper deal case. Michael is currently behind bars in Mumbai since he was arrested and sent into custody pending the legal and judicial procedure in the UAE. On Monday, the Court of Cassation upheld a lower court order which ruled that Michael could be extradited, dismissing appeals filed by his defense lawyers. With Dubai's top court upholding the lower court's decision, it has become final but will need approval from the UAE Minister of Justice for the extradition procedure to start. The extradition procedure happens in coordination with the Interpol and the Criminal Investigation Department. News from Sri Lanka now, where Parliament was adjourned after just 10 minutes on Monday after opening for the first time since the MPs brawled and threw objects at each other last week. Monday's session was adjourned after 10 minutes as the 225-member assembly failed to agree on a committee to draw up the legislature's agenda. Now, this came a day after an all-party meeting called by President Sirisena to resolve the crisis ended inconclusively. Remember, the crisis erupted when President Sirisena suddenly announced on 26th of October that he had sacked Prime Minister Wickremesinghe and installed Mahinda Rajapaksa in his place. President Sirisena later dissolved Parliament, and almost 20 months before its term was to end, he ordered a snap election. The Supreme Court of the country, however, overturned President Sirisena's decision to dissolve Parliament and halted the preparations for snap polls on 5th of January. The House till now has passed 2 no-confidence motions against Rajapaksa and his government by a voice vote. The House was convened on Monday morning to conduct a third-floor test. However, 10 minutes later, the House was adjourned till 23rd of November. And the 49th International Film Festival of India begins from today at Panaji in Goa. The 9-day event will showcase 212 films from 68 countries. The film festival will open with the Aspern Papers film, and Sealed Lips will be the closing movie. Indian Panorama, a sought-after section of the IFFI, will showcase 26 feature films and 21 non-feature films. Shaji Karoon directed Malayalam movie Olu will open the feature film segment of the Indian Panorama. The World Panorama section will present 67 movies, including 15 Oscar-nominated movies from different countries. While Israel is the focus country, Jharkhand is the focus state this year. 10 Israeli films, including The Other Story, will be screened at the event. And veteran Israeli filmmaker Dan Woolman will be given the Lifetime Achievement Award this year. And movies in the Jharkhand package include Death in the Gunj, Ranchi Diaries and Begum John. And that's the wrap on this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.